You know what you should do? You should follow me on Twitter at Brommer018. Link in the description. Do it now. Hello everyone, it's Brommer here, aka Ash, and today I want to give you my first impressions of the FIFA 22 gameplay from the closed beta. It is now out and we are well into the full swing of the closed beta, and I thought I'd really do this video to try and get my initial impressions. What this isn't going to be is a full-on proper review. That will of course come at the end of the closed beta, when not only will I have made some changes, but also I will have had the full 3 to 4 week period of being able to play the game. Here I just want to give my initial impressions of what I've seen, and then when we do come to do the full review, we can compare to see if things changed after I had, more time to make changes, and after EA had made changes as well. What I do want to say is that I haven't really messed with many gameplay settings at the moment. This is just for first impressions, so the game speed was still on normal. I haven't messed with sliders, things along those lines, so we can really get a just initial impression of how the base game is working out. If you do enjoy this video, by the way, please do hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you get notifications every time I upload lots of videos coming out on the likes of FIFA 22 and the upcoming eFootball/PES 22 as well. So do keep an eye out on that. And on that note, let's get into it. So first things first, we're going to go into a breakdown of a few different elements here that I want to talk about. But off the bat, what do I think about the actual gameplay itself? Am I coming away happy or disappointed? I'd say a little bit of both, because first off, is it better than FIFA 21? At the moment, yes, I am enjoying it more than FIFA 21. Those of you who are subscribers to my channel will know that I was a real big critic of the FIFA 21 gameplay. That's why I just almost didn't play the game full stop, other than a few videos and a bit of pro clubs as well. I just barely played the game. So compared to FIFA 21 at the moment, I am enjoying it more, and I can cautiously optimistically say that perhaps it won't put me off. I will be able to play this and get into something like a career mode, etc. So that's a positive for sure. That's definitely a plus. On the other hand, what I will say is still a lot of issues have carried over from previous iterations of FIFA, in particular FIFA 21, that don't look like they've been addressed. And in particular, what I do want to sort of talk about, and we'll discuss more during the video, is this whole hypermotion technology that they really marketed, they pushed out to us. They were really hyping it up about this whole 11v11. It's going to enable more realistic movement from the players, more realistic passing animations, etc., or everything, just a more realistic gameplay in general. I'm not really seeing that in action too much. I've noticed little changes that probably were causing it, but not massive improvements. And I do understand that there will be some growing pains with that, because of course it's a whole new way of recording gameplay. It's a whole new way of was a whole new thing to implement, isn't it? It's going to completely change the gameplay, hopefully, but I would have expected a little bit more than what we already are seeing so far. It's worth bearing in mind that this of course is only the beta, so there will be bugs and glitches and issues and stuff that will hopefully be eradicated before the full game comes out. So that is also worth bearing in mind. I should also say that unfortunately I can't show you guys any clips or photos, as I'm not allowed. Anyone who tests the closed beta isn't allowed. So unfortunately you will have to make do with my voice and just trust me on what I'm saying. So let's talk about some of the good things I've noticed so far early on. One is the weight of the passing. Now, what I've noticed in this FIFA is you've got to hold down the pass button for a lot longer if you want it to get to where you want it to go to. I am playing on assisted passing, as do most people, and that is what I've noticed. For example, whether it be a ground pass, a lob pass, a through ball, if you just press the button and you're expecting it to go maybe 20-30 yards that direction, it will not go 20-30 yards in that direction if you're just tapping it. It will go to the player who's maybe right next to you. Well, you'll have to hold down the button for longer, and I can get behind this. I like that. That is a more realistic way of playing, in my opinion. You don't want people, particularly if you're playing against people online, to be getting away with just tapping it and really getting into that rhythm, because it's just less realistic and it's a bit easy, so that's something they've clearly worked on, and it is better. It does take a little bit of getting used to though, because I of course as we all have just adapted to the way FIFA is. So you tap the button, the pass button, you expect it to go to maybe out wide or something, you're looking to switch it, and then it goes to a player who's like 5 yards away from you. So just take a bit of getting used to, but definitely something good. Another thing that I've noticed that has been really, really positive has been the defensive AI in some instances. For example, you'll find that the AI for your team intercept the ball and win the ball a lot more. You know, I found a lot of times the opposition would pass the ball up front, maybe try and get it into a target man, and then I'd find maybe my centre back stepping out and winning the ball back aggressively, which was good, you know, and I wasn't even controlling him. So that was really good. You feel like you're not defending on your own, as you've always felt throughout FIFA. Now, there are other instances where you do feel like you're defending on your own, and we'll go into that. Well, we'll go into that now, actually. Sometimes, for example, in the box, in your own box, when you're defending, the opposition are maybe passing it across the width of the box, going across widthways, and you're trying to shift along, but the players aren't shifting along with you. Is still an issue, and it's how I'm conceding quite a few of my goals, just from the opposition passing along the width of the box. And because the players aren't moving along with it enough, then they find an opening, they have a crack at goal, and they score. Another thing to do with that defensive AI that's really getting on my nerves, and has done for a while, is your own midfielders not tracking back. I don't know how many times I've got to go over this, and how many times they have to be told, but the central midfielders will just not track runners. They just will not go into your own box. Very, very rarely anyway. Occasionally I've seen it, but a lot of times I'm conceding goals because one of the opposition central midfielders have run into the box and they just haven't been tracked. And there has to be a way, because it's just the way of football, isn't it? You know, central midfielders will track back. Often you'll see them in their own box defending, helping a defensive line. It's just the way of football. It's just how it goes. So it's really frustrating to see, because I just see them standing on the edge of the box, just watching the ball, just ball watching. You've got to trap those midfield runners. So whether that involves tweaking the central midfielders in general, or adding an instruction on the tactics to make them man mark and trap back, I don't know, but something has to be done about this, because it's so frustrating. Elsewhere, sticking to kind of defending, goalkeepers, been really weird with goalkeepers. They've been very inconsistent. Someone mentioned it on the comments on one of my videos recently. I've noticed the goalkeepers getting beaten at their near post a lot, like seriously a lot, which I expect that to be tweaked. I imagine a lot of people are going to be picking up on that. I haven't gone onto the forums to give my review yet and file my bugs report, which I will do soon, so I'll see sort of what people are saying. But I've been noticing them getting beaten at their near post a lot. Another thing, you still can't control them when they're running out. You know, when a goalkeeper's sweeping and he's looking to get a ball over the top, you used to be able to press the select button or the back button, and you could switch to him manually and just collect the ball. Now they'll just do it themselves. You can't do that, and they'll just boot it away. So that's really frustrating. That needs to change. Sticking with the AI, a couple of things I want to mention. First off, something that we spoke about in my tactics videos last year for FIFA 21 and FIFA 20 really, is the opposition just do not cross the ball under any circumstance. They get the ball on the wing near the corner flag, and they will not under any circumstance cross that ball. They will always cut inside and pass back across the box, or pass to the edge of the box every time. They will never ever cross the ball. It's so frustrating. How many times? Every team, I don't care if you're Burnley or you're Man City, every team will cross the ball at some point. If a player on the wing is freeing lots of space, he's running in, you got people tracking back, players running into the box, they will cross that ball almost every time, and it's just the way it goes. So the opposition AI, they've got to do something about it, because it's so annoying. Because not only does it mean that they end up just messing about with the ball more, they're holding it about in the corner and passing it along. I've conceded a lot of goals from that, by the way, just because the fact that they won't cross the ball. But at the end of the day, it's not realistic. You know, it's so frustrating, and ultimately you would win the ball back more, wouldn't you? Because they'll be crossing it in, and then it becomes a 50-50 battle between your striker and their striker and your centre back. So yeah, that's really getting on my nerves. They've got to do something about that, because It's just ridiculous. It's so repetitive. It does get really boring, and it messes with the statistics, such as the possession statistics as well, because you see that the opposition will have more possession than you, and it's mainly because when they get the ball into the corner, they just mess about with it. You know, they will not take a risk. Same goes for deeper in the pitch as well. You know, they won't go forward enough. They won't go direct enough. You know, try and get the ball in behind. Try and go to a target man. They just won't do it. They'll always try and work the ball through the third. So, yeah, that's a little bit boring. That needs to be changed. And sticking with AI, another issue that we spoke about in FIFA 21 that is still there. And this is where I want to talk about the hypermotion technology, because I'd have thought this would have changed, would have fixed this problem. And that is just players around not moving. You know, a lot of the time you're passing the ball around between yourself and players are just standing there watching. And it's the same with the opposition as well. You know, the opposition should all be shifting up as a unit, and then your players should be moving constantly, looking for the ball. And it should be a real battle. And it just isn't. There's just so much, like, too much space, because one, the opposition aren't pushing up enough, and then two, your players in response are just standing around within that space. You know, there's not a lot of just movement, full stop, particularly when it starts on kickoff. You know, both teams should move up as a unit, but it doesn't happen. So, yeah, that's, again, something that's a bit frustrating. Finally, one thing that I have noticed is momentum. Now, a big thing came about 18 months to 2 years ago about how EA had this dynamic difficulty adjustment, and it was basically scripting. That's what it was. And I'm worried that something like this, momentum, is still quite prevalent within FIFA 22. Because I've noticed in my games that I will go behind a lot. And not just behind by one. I've noticed sometimes I've gone behind by 2 or 3 goals. I'll be like 3-0 down within the first half. And, you know, the opposition just tearing me apart. And then in the second half, all of a sudden, I'll end up turning it around and it's 3-3 or 4-3. And now you might usually think, well, if you've changed your tactics, you've gone more aggressive, etc., that will happen. But I didn't. I will not change my tactics purposely to try and test this out, and it still changes. And I just find it really, really weird that sort of thing is happening. It feels like there is a bit of a momentum thing. Now, I'm going to test this out over the course of the rest of the beta and really sort of have a look and see if other people are having this issue as well. But it does seem like there is some sort of, you know, dynamic difficulty adjustment, which would be seriously, seriously bad news. That is not what we want. That's not what any player wants whatsoever. So that has to be looked into. Like I say, I'm going to have a look at that, keep a close eye on it, and see if it really is a thing. Because at the moment, that is a bit worrying as well. Now, I noticed that this is kind of turned into a bit of a negative video, and I don't really want it to be, because, again, one, it is a closed beta, so hopefully there will be changes. And two, obviously we've only had a few days. It's just my first impressions. So things can change very, very quickly. But overall, I will say the experience is better than FIFA 21. So that is a first. That's a start anyway. I just think there's a lot that needs doing before I can really sink myself into this and say, you know, I'm enjoying this experience. At the moment, it's a bit like that, you know. So we'll see how it goes. One thing I'm enjoying as well is that it's more challenging, actually. I remember complaining that even ultimate difficulty on FIFA back in FIFA 20, FIFA 19 was easy. You know, I was still winning the majority of games easily. Now I'm on legendary and it's a lot more of a challenge. I'm not winning every game, so that's good. That's progress as well. That's something that I am enjoying seeing. You'd just like it to be in a more well, me personally, I'd just like it to be in a more realistic manner and an enjoyable manner, but we'll see how that one plays out. Let me know what you guys think. Anyone who's been playing the beta so far, what do you think of the gameplay and what do you think of the game modes as well? We will have a full review on the gameplay after the end of the beta, and we will also have that for hopefully the likes of manager career, player career mode as well, and if anyone wants to see pro clubs or Volta, we can get in that one as well. Do be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and ring the bell so that you get notifications every time I upload. Don't forget to give me a follow on Twitter. The link to that is in the description. On that note, we're going to finish it off there. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you soon.